Hey guys, how's it going? I was going to do this offline, but I figure it's more useful to do it recording it because eventually you guys are gonna get into some sort of trouble trying to figure out what's going on with the search or something else. So I can't quite remember, but I think the search calls the search.html, and that includes the DVD search.php under the lib folder, which would be here, and DVD search is this guy. It's a fairly large file because the search is quite, there's quite a lot of features. This is interesting. Maybe we can use these variables here. And I've forgotten these existed. Alright, I'm gonna show trace. Oops, come on, guy. Show trace. We're gonna get all these things out, and there is some caching that goes on with Apache in production in terms of evaluating scripts. So what we'll do is we'll bring the server down, bring the server up every time we change something, because it's easier to try to figure out when it changes, when it doesn't change, because that drives you crazy. If you are running in development environment, which I don't have right now, then you would configure it so that it's evaluating it all the time and you don't have to deal with it. But as it is, that's what I'm going to do. So restart, and we're going to go here. I'm going to go back one. Right, so this is the trace information. These are all the queries that and the environment that the pages are going through, and it's pretty useful for trying to understand what's going on. So when we request that search, this is what happened, right? So the first thing is I came here and I am searching by, I think, here we go. Search criteria, MDB is this. That doesn't look right. All right, so this is, one of the things is off. All right, so I'm gonna do this, hit here. I guess that's the way it works. So it's looking for MDB ID, where the DVD ID is this much. Oh, because the search for this IMDb ID is actually comes from the previous listing that doesn't have the IMDb ID in the page. So it needs to query the database to figure out what the database the IMDb ID is. So that's what's happening. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna go to, oops, I'm gonna go to MySQL, use DAF. I'm gonna make this bigger. And so when that runs, this is the result we get. This is the IMDb ID that we get, which looks right? And then we do a count, and the count is to figure out how many pages we're gonna get, I think. So this is what it run, and the count is 1. So that is somewhere where the problem is. So I'm gonna trim this down so that's easier to read, and I'm only gonna worry about the count of records as opposed to titles in this, because that's, you know, that just what is displayed in the page. So I'm selecting DVD ID from that search, all1, forcing an index where the object type is I for probably IMDb. No case, and then that's joining with DVD ID. to bring in the rest of the criteria. So that's giving 1. So the issue is that this search all 1 doesn't have what we want. So the one useful thing that you got here is this debugging information, right? That you saw how to obtain. Now I don't remember. Let's describe this search all 1. Describe. Right, so it's the video ID, object type, no case, and whole. I don't know what whole is. Oh, yeah. All right, so that object type, select object type, how many from, try to understand this table, search all, group by, object type. It's going to run a little bit. And there you have it. So I do not know what A, P, U are. I is for MDB, D I don't know what these are, but it doesn't really matter. So we know that I is for MDB ID. So this is a cache for searches. And we experimented a lot to make these results fast, or as fast as we could get them. So the issue is why search all is not being updated. Show tables. So you have search all 1, search all 2, search director, search DVD, right? Now, when we did these scripts, let's see if there is search all in any of those scripts. Yes, there is. And it is in SP update search index. Oh, all right. So there is script there. I know what's going on. So this needs to be run from a script. It's a database initialization thing, right? So you remember how some of these initialize the country, the directory, the language. For whatever reason, this search all guys, the initialization, they come from a script that iterates through all the DVDs and reinitializes them. So go to, I'm gonna run this as DVDAF, another window. So we forgot something, which was, normally would be under scripts here. So one of these is, see these guys, normalize DVD search, and normalize film. So some of these need calling. I do not know about these. All right, so let me go to so under install, there's another version which are the scripts that were in the production server. So these are likely to be the ones we have to pay attention to. So I'm going to rename the scripts to scripts.local, and I'm gonna get the scripts that are under install and move them here. And now you have the scripts here that were what's in production server. So I'm going to go there, meaning Sam's server, as opposed to the old FilmAf server from over a year ago. So now these are the ones. All right, so secure copy, this not relevant anymore because those servers don't exist anymore. This is backup stuff. These updates concern me, or are things we should be looking at. These normalize as well as this min del all and so forth. So how would you know that? Well, you're watching the video. There should be some documentation about this someplace. How about README? All right, so here we go. Generate home cache called hourly to generate front page element. So you do have some interesting things here. Okay, so Amazon code, Amazon FTP backup. That's the CP price. That cron, we'll take a look at the crons shortly. Crunch, empty trash, call daily. So this is something we will want to look at. I'm not going to worry about finding bots. This is something we want to look at later. Identify. This we'll need to take a look at because it probably needs to be customized. Creates update search. Okay, so that is what we were missing. This update to create update DVD search index. Is that one of update DVD search index? So that's already created, so we don't have to worry about this guy. Oops. This call daily to update the quick director, call daily, so that's we have to worry about. Make this smaller. Call to make for PHP not used. Normalized. Not in use. Okay. This is getting me confused. All right, let's start over. Copies. We'll take the look at those later. Copies, compressor. Call daily, that's going to be part of the cron jobs. Call hourly is going to be part of the cron jobs. Identify, we have to take a look at it now. Update search index, that we need to take a look at now. This has already been, we already ran this guy. This we don't care, normalize the research. Normalize script. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Ping. Don't care about that. we don't have replication because we only have one database. Right. All right. So first thing, let's take a look at. Right. So this seems to be the one to call min all, because it calls everybody. So you can see over here, truncate, tables and stats, and then for each DVD, so here's the money shot. So for each DVD, it update the search index. Why are there two? Selected DID call. Oh, that's just a fetching of this query. All right, so that's it. So for each DVD ID, it calls this function, and then it calls this optimized thing here. So that should be all we need. Let's take a look at this guy. So this is search publisher and search director, right? So if we go to min all, search all, right, so that has to be called too. And so we need to call this guy, we need to call this guy. How about this guy? Let's call this guy too. What's the worst that can happen, right? And how about this guy? That's all commented out. So this inserting things into Z normalized DVD, I actually thought that wasn't even used anymore. So let me take a look at min title. No. So that needs to be called as well. Alrighty, so do any of these call identify? Nope. Not identify. Am I typing something wrong here? Let's try this guy. No, so we don't have to worry about identify. Min all. So this is obviously the wrong directory, right? because things have moved in relation to the old server. So what we're going to do is I'm going to load all of these files. So all studio director title search, okay. So load them all, and what we're gonna do is replace /www.filmaf with /var www html, right, and that should be good. Let me just see if this takes us someplace. Yes, it does. All right, so that search and replace was successful. Right, next, do the same. Right, next, do the same. Right, next, doesn't have anything. Next, do the same. That's it. All right. So all these scripts should be pointing to the right place now. Okay, hold on, there's something else. Here we go. This points to where the configuration file is, and that has changed. So we need to find, I think it's etc Apache PHP. There's only one PHP here? No, there are two. No, there is one. That's weird. I was pretty sure I had created it. I guess I didn't. So we need to create the PHP Cli. Here we go. I guess I just thought of creating it. So we create, we copy, you call it CLI php.ini, and we edit it. So we just copy the same thing that we use for, what's wrong? That's why because I messed up here. All right, let me remove this. Copy, it's PHP CLI. That's why I didn't get it right. No. Yes. And what I'm looking for is display errors. And we're changing it to, oops, on, and that's the only difference for this file. All right. That's what we have in here, configure PHP for scripts. Now this guy here needs to be updated in all the scripts. So it only shows up once. So that's it. Next. 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 And we're done. All right, so cross your fingers. Yeah, doesn't look too bad. All right, this may take a while. I'm going to pause the recording and come back when things have been updated. Wow, that took a long time, about an hour and a half. Good thing I stopped the recording. So I offset the tables that it updated, so updated search all and the stats. These, I don't remember whether the stuff that we run already took care of. I think it did. Why don't we take a look at it? That's not what I wanted. Let's go to var wh shell and sp. Oh, come on. ini. Oh, come on. ini DVD store. So this stats country. So this is kind of redundant because, well, who knew? DVD there, stats DVD. So that's again redundant. DVD language, that was redundant. DVD pub was redundant. And region was redundant. That's all. But each of those took a couple of minutes. That's all right. No big loss. Okay. Now I put it in the Word doc. There's updates here, right? So there's create updates or DVDs are. Now we can do minimum. I don't remember what MIN stands for. I think it's to minimize the search time. Who figures? We can run this, and the only thing I can think of is put more CPUs on this thing, but it's not going to multi-thread. I don't know why. And also, it wasn't using much memory at all. It wasn't using much CPU at all. So it probably was doing I/O, but this is a pretty fast NVM or NVMe, so I don't know. Let's do the director and the studio, and well, that's going faster. You can see the dots is the heartbeat of the script. It will probably be this many like we got for the titles, because that's probably by DVD ID. So that seems to be going pretty fast. It's going to be maybe a minute or two to run both if it continues at this pace. That is not bad. This is more like it. Okay, so director is done. And now the publisher or the studio. Yeah, wow, that was quick. I want to take a look at what did that do, which is here. No. I think we have somebody coming. I'm gonna go here. Maybe it's the mailman. So what is it updating? It's updating search publisher and search director. So we know it's updating this. It's updating this. And this, I think it's just used as a temp space, so you can see over here. So also touching this table. So that has been updated. Okay, very good. This search DVD is search DVD new, or probably what next? So, hold on, let me stop this and see what's going on with the dogs. Okay, yeah, that was Amazon deliveries. So, what is next? So we did the, lost track of things here. All right, so let's take a look at this min title and what it's going to be updating. So the min title is going to be update. Oops, come on. Where's my page down? Page up. All right, so that's going to use touch search DVD, a search DVD, new and so forth. Okay. So if we go back to the doc, that's going to touch these two tables. So this is probably the last one, not the last one, because Z normalized DVD is somebody else or something else. So now let's run min title. We'll see how fast that goes or how slow. That's not too bad. It's funny that the first one took so long to run. It is 300,000 titles, but still, that take a long time. Donkey. Good girl. Okay. Right, almost there. What is next? So we did min all. Actually, I'm going to update here what other tables they touch. So I have to look it up again. Directory of publisher, this one, and these are min all. And here these are oops. Now, what are you guys breaking there? Okay, the dogs are excited. So that's min all. So min all. So that updates and for all listings, that's what it does. The search publisher and director updates. Technically, well, it does updates, but the underscore new tables end up empty. But I'm not gonna make a big distinction. So that's what these guys update. Okay, call date daily to update the quick directory publish it, not direct, blah blah, and these are the tables. And the quick title lookup is the search DVD. Which is the one right, so that's it. Now this guy will take a look. Oh, this DVD title is taking longer than I thought. Well, it's going faster. Has more dots. I'm not sure why. Done. Good. So we run this first three. Let's take a look at what this guy is doing. Da, 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 da. See, it only touches Z normalized. Is that possible? Z normalized DVD? It only touches that? What is that used for? All right, let's just run it. And where's my? All right, let's run this sucker. That means it's gonna take a long time. 0 to 10,000, and we have 300,000. Oh, that's weird. So the begin and end. Okay, this must be called by something else. Yeah, that's what's happening. That is called by this guy. And he calls it Y12. Wow. So whatever that was, this is not, that was created when we have 120,000 as opposed to 300,000 titles. That is weird. I'm not sure that's used anywhere. Let's grep for the normalized DVD, and I don't want to just use a different shell. This is painful. Let me use PHP Storm to search. The reason for that is because I have to avoid the pictures, and PHP Storm does that automatically. And I don't want to have to think too much or run too many, what should I call it, run it individual directories. So I'm just going to go find in path. And this is, oh, this is not it. What? Phone is ringing. Let me stop for a second. Okay, let's search for Z normalized DVD in directory for HTML. Nothing found. So that doesn't seem to be using anything. What I'm gonna do is, oops, I'm gonna search for my DVD. How about that? So my DVD should be in a bunch of places, as you can see here, all over the place. And so I am looking at the right place, and I am going into subdirectories, and I do not find Z normalized DVD. Normalized DVD. Try again. Not one. Let's wait until it finishes, because it's doing its search. Not found, so I don't know what that was used for. I could take a look at it, but indications are we don't need it, because obviously it hasn't been updated in the production site for years, because it was only updated in the first 120,000 records. So what the comment says is that this, so it updates only the Z normalized DVD. And what this is create that search string for yeah, the no case thing. And you can see the way it's used is to refresh the DVD table. So you know, it calculates everything in this other table called Z normalized DVD, and in this section that is commented out, it updates the DVD with whatever was created by or created in the Z normalized DVD, and does some other stuff. So we're not going to touch that because chances are this is broken and not needed. This is a matter of fact. I'm going to remove it. And okay, so that's it. Z normalized DVD. So it says used to calculate, and the reason is it's been so long, and chances are the no case is calculated differently nowadays than it was when this script was created, because obviously it hasn't been maintained for probably 10 years. So that's no good. And empty trash. So if you recall, there are trash cans in the collections. When you delete something, it goes to your trash can and stays there for a period of time. Empty trash, we can take a look at it. VI, what's going on there? Something is off with my shell. It's not working as it should. Oh, the expiration is set on the when the thing is deleted. So over here we don't know when it expired, but it did expire. So we can just run the trash can. Empty trash. That's a long time. Whoops. Anytime now, anytime. All right. Let's make sure that there are still collections there. And collection. Yeah, collections are still here. And wish list. Yep, collections still here. Very good. So we clear the trash. And then. Oh. Okay. Now this, I'm not going to run because this is to update the front page. So let me bring up the front page. Hold on a second. Wow, something is really wrong with my computer. All right, I'm gonna have to reboot at some point now. So this front page is updated, but this information, some of it would come from data feeds, which we're not getting, and some information comes from contributions. Like, for example, the last 30 days there have been no contributions because the website wasn't running. Same thing with recently joined and so forth. So I'm not going to update this because otherwise we may get some empty sections. And whoever is going to install this in their own VM, if you want something to be shown here, you're going to have to figure what that out, or get feeds from Amazon or make the site public or whatever, right? So at this point there is no, I can't really, if I update this, it's just going to be blank. So we're not going to run these scripts. As a matter of fact, I am going to remove them from the guide, because if somebody is going through the scripts without following with the video, they're going to run that and end up with nothing on their front page or some weird stuff. So I am going to rename to avoid accidental. What was the name of that thing? Jen. Oh, it's not even here. I think I already thought about that and deleted it or something. Yeah, it's not here. So we'll leave that alone. And so now we need the cron jobs, and the cron jobs are, there's one hourly and there is one daily, and let's take a look at what they look like. This is the daily, and what it does, it empties the trash can and deletes old uploads so anything that was uploaded up to 20 days ago and hasn't been processed, it is being deleted. So I'm going to comment this out, and because if you're doing your own, if you're running this on your computer, we don't really need to clean the uploads. There's not going to be that much that hangs there. And if you're running this publicly, you're going to figure out what the policy is. Now here are the two scripts that we run, directory and studio and minimum title. I don't remember why these get run every day, but they do. Empty trash. So this is going to be our cron for what you call for daily, and our cron for hourly is, you would update the front page, but we just got rid of it. So I'm going to comment it out. As a matter of fact, update indexes, stacks, and normalize film. Let's take a look at what these two things do. Because these first two I'm going to comment out, because they don't work no more, because we got rid of those scripts. I'll keep this back in. So the wget doesn't work anymore. So let me update indexes, stats, and normalize film. Let's take a look at those. All right. So this, for any DVD that hasn't been indexed, remember that long running query that took an hour and a half, went through all the DVDs? When this runs, anything that hasn't been indexed for whatever reason, sometimes websites, like, things don't, they're not, the transaction doesn't exactly complete. So what this does is anything that hasn't been indexed gets indexed. So there should be very few titles, even on a production site, that gets picked up by this. And so we can let it run. As a matter of fact, we can run it now to see if it gives us an error. And that's it. There wasn't anything to be indexed because we just ran the indexing. And I think they should be naturally indexed when everything works correctly. That's like something to catch anything that is left behind because of some sort of a problem. All right, so normalized film, what is that? Okay. I don't know what does this. Okay, so there are things. Let's just take a quick look at this more carefully. So for these types of media type, which are film as opposed to DVDs and so forth, what does it do? It inserts a copy of that into DVD history if one copy doesn't exist. I don't know why it would be any different for this series of films. And then it comes here and update the listing. Okay, so there are certain things that we expect film listings not to have or to have in a certain way. And what this does is looks for something, anything that is not within those parameters, makes a copy of the current record into the history of DVDs and creates a new version with that being corrected. So this is kind of, well, I guess it does call normalized, right? So for example, for a film, the number of titles is always 1 and the number of discs is always 1, even though there are no discs. And the source is T. I don't remember what T is for. You have to look up the decode table. And the DVD release date and the DVD out of print date don't exist. So you can see all these things kind of make sense for a film. I do not know why country is US, but that's, I think it's just because that is not the country of the film, that's the country of the DVD. Since it's not a DVD, it sets it to default and so forth. So that's exactly what it's doing. It's looking for things that are not published media. And if they look different than what the defaults should be, it snapshots the current version into history and enforces the defaults. And what is this? This last piece? All right. So this, what it does is still for films. It updates it from announced to current, depending on the release date. So it's just housekeeping that when the submission of a film was approved, it might have gone without inconsistency that went without noticing, and this fixes it. So this is cool to run. Okay, let's run this. Shouldn't be too much. That's it. I guess there was nothing. All right, because this run every hour in the production site. There haven't been that many changes, so there you have it. So let's go to cron hourly. And so those two guys are good to go. Okay. And I'm going to put this here. Oh, I think I did it wrong. Yes, I did it wrong. Copy. And now I put it here. Quit. This is alright, so this is hourly. It's this guy. Copy. So this is home DVDAF / scripts. So that's where it is. And this is only scripts and cron daily. Okay, and this needs some. This guy is a different color because that's the content of the file. And then the same thing for the lower section. Right, so we create these files and we add them to cron. And the cron, I think we have a copy of that in the, do they have to run as root? Or they can run as DVDAF. Cron hourly, right? We are DVDAF, right? So if I run them now, and I'm able to run, that means I can run them as I can put in a cron job as a cron job for DVDAF, and apparently I can. Yeah. I'm gonna stop the video because this is running. That thing, it takes 2 minutes, but it's 2 minutes. Okay, so I made one change. I'm gonna in the Word doc. I'm gonna change now in the crons themselves, which is I had the read directory standard output and errors to nowhere. But if you ever run it manually, you want to see what the errors are. So we're gonna delete that redirection, so that's gonna show on the screen when you run manually if there are any errors. All right. And when you run from cron, then we're gonna make that redirect to nowhere. Okay, so we just updated that, and now the cron tabs are for DVDAF, and the way you create them or you edit the cron job, you just go cron tab -E, and select an editor. All right, let's, never seen this before. Vim. All right, so what that's going to look like is, oops, undo. What that's going to look like is, come on, where's my mouse? Here. Is like this. Copy. was unfortunate. Copy. Okay. I can align this. This doesn't make a difference. So the first one, I think it's running every hour at a minute past the hour, and the second one is running at 3 a.m. a minute past 3 a.m. and I put a minute there because you may there may be some other job that runs on the hour, and I didn't want to create some sort of a conflict, but or additional load. Now, if you're running this on your VM, you have a challenge, which is your VM is not going to be up when these jobs are supposed to run. The hourly, it might. The daily, it won't. So you're going to have to figure that out, how you're going to handle that. Maybe it's something that every so often you run when you remember to. I don't know. But I'm going to leave it like this because typically that's how we set it up. So that's our cron job for the VDAF. For root, there isn't one. Normally we have a backup job that runs as root, but you're not backing it up to anywhere. I mean, if you were going to back up to someplace, you could create it, but that's it. So this should be it. Unless we have some sort of a problem someplace. And if all went well, Tuba now has the results. Yay! All right, guys, good luck. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.